what's up guys? This is Andy at Duranglers, and today we're going to be tying an EP Pike Fly. One of my favorite Pike Flies, tied on a Gamakatsu B10S using GSP thread. And I typically tie this on a 3/0, but you can tie anywhere from 2 to 4/0. And I do like to lay out my EP and SF blend in ever decreasing sizes so that I can grab and go as needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of SF blend of the full length, tie it right in the center of that chunk, and then push this back all the way over the hook, encompassing that hook shank. There's a better way to do this, and you can see that on our fly tying video with Matt Bennett tying his craft fur baitfish. So tying this back, and when you choose your EP pieces or SF blend, it takes some experimenting, but you do want to grab less than you think you need. And with every tie-in point, at least with the SF blend, and then every other tie-in point with the EP, I do Zap-a-Gap. That pike teeth tend to rip apart thread. So I'm tying in my second tail of SF blend here, and then I'm going to push that back over the hook shank. We have a lot of luck with this fly here in Colorado on Vallecito Reservoir, Navajo, and a few of our other lakes, but I've also sent these off to people fishing out east, especially in Minnesota and Canada, and they say that it works great. They hold up really well. Pike tend to rip apart any fly, but these typically hold up better than a lot. So I'm going to Zap-a-Gap that second tail point, and then I'm going to go on to building the body. You can spread these pieces out as much as you want. It will take some experimenting to see what you like, because every hook is going to be different too. So I'm tying my first and longest piece of bottom purple on one side of the hook shank. It's more at a 45-degree angle to the bottom. And then I'm going to take that forward-facing piece and pull that back over the other side. That's going to be at a 45-degree angle to the bottom, if that makes sense, not directly on the bottom. But then I do tie in my top piece of EP on top of the hook with the rearward-facing piece directly over the top. And then what I do is I split that front-facing directly on either side of the hook shank. So it is a little bit different angle than the bottom. This is much like an EP Peanut Butter from Enrico Puglisi, though it is a bit larger. And I tend to stack a lot of EP just to push water. You're welcome to do it however you want. So again, I'm going to build this body by repeating, moving forward, hitting it with Zap-a-Gap on the top and the bottom with each progressively sized piece. I don't try to disproportionately pull the fibers so that they will be mismatched and it looks like a bait fish, because they will be trimmed eventually. With the tail, I do try to do that. So you can see here with each smaller piece, I'm just doing the same thing I was doing. Now we're getting to the head. So before my last two stations of top and bottom, I do put on a little red. Here I'm using angel hair, but I also like to use ice dub in the red, as it is a very tinsely ice dub. It is not the UV, so it has more of a flash than it does a dubbing action. And I pull that over the sides to act as a center line. So I'm going to hit that with Zap-a-Gap, do another station on the bottom and the top. And then finally we're going to get to the head. Same thing, smallest piece of EP. You can even use a really thick piece, just it has to be shorter. So again, you tie that on a 45-degree angle on the bottom, not directly on the bottom, and then pull that forward facing over and tie it down facing backwards. And then with the top, this is going to be the final piece, and we are going to tie that directly on the top and then split it facing out the front, down the sides. And that does cover it up a little bit, that tie-in point of the flash, so that it does give it a center line, potentially even a little bit of a gill look. And there are people who will tie that flash in every other station. It's up to you what you want to do. Our pike here don't typically like a ton of flash, so I try to go a little bit lighter. Build a head to keep that all facing backwards. Here I am using GSP 200 whip finish. That stuff is really thick and it doesn't like to bite into itself well, so you want to whip finish it pretty good and then glue it. And I actually double glue it. I hit it with Zap-a-Gap, let it dry, and then I'm actually going to color it with Sharpie and then go over it with UV flow from Loon. So Zap-a-Gap, let that dry, and then Sharpie it. And you don't have to Sharpie it, but I like to just to give it some continuity with the fly. Go around, color it up, get artsy craftsy with it if you're feeling it. One thing I don't do in this video, but I do glue eyes on these typically. So here we go, I'm hitting it with the UV. There's your light, let it dry, get it all nice and beautiful. Looks great. Excellent. Come on. Going, UV, UV, wait for it, there we go. So this is where I trim. And how I like to trim is I like to pull all the fibers from the body, not the tail, and get them perpendicular to the hook as much as you can, just so you can see what you're working with. And then I just cut straight back. This is going to be kind of like a large kinky muddler. You see those on a lot of saltwater patterns. This is, again, modeled after the EP Peanut Butter, but in a very large size. So you're going to be able to see how it gives it a rounded shape once you pull all those fibers straight down and then straight up, and then trim them just like I did, going longer towards the back the best you can. I like to trim the shortest at the front. Here's me combing it out because I really like to comb all those fibers. I don't like the comb I have, but I really do like the comb from Loon. So you can see the shape of that body here. It's more of a circular shape, and then looking straight on, that'll push some water. Again, I do like to glue eyes on these, but it's not necessary. There's some with glued eyes after the fact, and that's how I like to do it. And here's the materials I use for this fly. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.